Welcome to Lead with Love, Live Aligned. I am Coach Catherine Hood, a love and leadership coach. For those that are maybe shrinking, fixing, faking life to be fine and okay on the outside, but on the inside, you're feeling miserable, you're suffering, you're struggling, you feel stuck. So, here on this podcast, this channel, we will unpack those silent struggles. We'll rewire old patterns and explore how to lead with love. Lead with love without losing who you are, losing yourself to new ways, new paradigms, new processes, really figuring out who you are, living your life from freedom, from peace of mind, from fulfillment, meaning, and purpose. So if you're craving a deeper connection, more emotional freedom, that's the best part, and you want your life to look as good as it does on the outside, or maybe on your Instagram or Facebook reel, well, you're home. So grab your notebook and lean in, and let's begin. All right, so that was my first test run of the new start off for this podcast. I've changed the name a couple times. So let's see, and see, giving it a whirl and see what lands, what doesn't. Anyways, today, unspoken expectations. Anybody have any of those? Any unspoken truths, anything that you're harboring, you're suppressing, you're hiding, you're pushing down, putting in a box and hiding it in the corner, putting it in a box and putting maybe a lock and some chains on it. Some things that are unsaid, maybe some expectations, wants, desires in your relationship. Things that you wish you could say, but you're afraid to because you're worried that you're going to hurt their feelings, or you're worried that it'll cause a disruption. You're wanting to manage their feelings without wanting to manage their feelings so they don't feel hurt, put out, put off, not good enough, etc. Maybe they have a heavy load and you're not wanting to add to it, but you have expectations, you have wants, you have desires, you have these things that are not being met. So these are the silent saboteurs in your relationships. So in this episode, we're going to explore expectations. We're also going to explore the understanding of how a thought, a feeling, and an action creates an outcome. So this loop is super powerful to understand and see in your own life in real time. Because once you see this loop, that you do it millions of times a day, how you emotionally react or respond to the stimulus outside of you. And when you see that you have choice, there's a pattern there. And when you disrupt that pattern and shift it towards your goal, shift it towards how you want to feel, shift it towards what you want more of in your life, when you shift it, shift the boat, change the udder, change the direction of the tide, how you will have more emotional leadership in your life. So expectations, I always, in coaching sessions, I usually ask my clients, what is the difference between an expectation and an agreement? 99% of the time, my clients are incredibly brilliant and they can articulate both, right? Expectations usually are in our head, right? Not outspoken, they're not expressed, they're not said, they're in our head. They're things that we want to control or manipulate or bend reality, or we want things to be a certain way so we feel good. We want things to be and look and feel in a way that feels safe. Now, some of those words might feel strong and triggering for you, and that's okay. That's good. This is where we lean in. Sometimes when we have expectations, we don't think that they're controlling or manipulating, but they are. Okay. Maybe to a small level, But when we have expectations of others or expectations of life or expectations of things working out for us, it creates misery. It creates mental, emotional suffering, and it overflows into the physical aspect of our lives. Agreements, on the other hand, are verbal. Agreements are when two or more individuals sit down and they agree, they collaborate, they create a plan, they create a mission, they create a goal, they create a vision, they create something that is kind of an outline on how to move forward. It might be short-term, long-term, mid-term. It might be all of that with an ability to come back, regroup, recalibrate, readjust, pivot, shift, change. It's an agreement. It may be in writing, it may be verbal, it may be a handshake. How many of you do handshake deals anymore? Or it might be all of the above. But an agreement is something that's collaborative, that everybody agrees upon, that everyone expresses their ideas, what they see is beneficial, what they see as a barrier, what they see as a challenge, and everybody comes together and creates a plan together. But expectations are an emotional barrier. It's a wall. So when we don't verbally articulate and we don't know how to express and describe and healthfully communicate our thoughts, our feelings, our needs, maybe even healthy personal boundaries, it doesn't create connection. It creates distance. It doesn't create peace. It creates suffering. Silence is not safety. I work with a lot of clients that think that, oh, I just don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to disrupt things. I want to keep things at peace. But paradoxically, they're not in peace in their mind. They're suffering in silence. Avoidance is one of the biggest factors to anxiety. So avoidance, it's just magnifies and creates this, I like to call it like pushing the pool ball into the water, like a giant pool ball, and you're just pushing, because you're avoiding having these conversations, preventing to hurt other people's feelings. You're wanting to manage other people's feelings. Let me tell you right now, you can't manage another human being's feelings. It's not your responsibility. It's not in your lane. And what it does is it just creates more hurt, more destruction down the road. Unspoken expectations, unspoken assumptions is suppression. So it's like silently adding bricks on a wall. Okay? It blocks intimacy, it blocks trust, it blocks connection, it blocks collaboration, it blocks and prevents one another from understanding one another. You're faking it. You're putting up a facade. You're wearing a mask. So the person that they know, that they think they know, is not 100% putting out their cards on the table. So when you can say the hard things with love, with clarity, with compassion, it builds bridges. When it doesn't build walls, it builds bridges. Even if it's uncomfortable. That's the best part. When it is uncomfortable, it's learning to be able to communicate. Even if you put a disclaimer out there, I have something hard to share with you. I don't know how it's going to land. I don't know what you're going to hear. I don't know how it's going to be received, but I'm going to do my best to make this as compassionate and empathetic as possible. You can put a disclaimer on things until you learn how to healthfully communicate. What I do know, the longer you avoid saying the hard thing, the bigger it looks and feels in your mind and the clunkier it's going to come out. I know that this isn't for everybody. I know that there are people that have no problem saying what's on their mind. They have no problem expressing themselves. I do know that there's a segment of the population that does have a hard time. They have a really hard time expressing what they feel, what their expectations are. And when we have a hard time expressing or saying what's on our mind, we often think by saying nothing keeps the peace. But here's the truth. that piece is fake. You're wearing a mask. You're pretending. That version of you is not real. It's not whole. It's not complete. So what it is it's basically tension with a smile on, right? It's like social media. It's just, it's the highlight reel. It's not real. And people don't connect with fakeness. I'd rather someone like and know and appreciate the real version of me. So that way it's consistent versus the fake version of me. I'd rather them really understand and know me, the messiness. Because I know that if I pretend to be fake all the time and I pretend that everything's perfect and amazing and incredible, that's not very relatable. People don't connect with that. People believe that, oh, that person is so perfect and knows everything and everything they touch goes to gold. No one wants to connect with that. That's not relatable. So someone that's avoiding talking to someone that's avoiding rocking the boat or wanting to manage everyone's feelings, wanting everyone to feel happy around them, because when everybody feels happy around them, then they feel safe and happy, which is actually not real. A lot of times what they're thinking is, well, they all should know what my expectations are. Everyone should know what the rules are. Everyone should know how to act and behave. Everyone should know what to do. And I shouldn't feel like I have to tell them what I expect of them. And if I say something, I'm going to create ripples. I'm going to create drama. I'm going to create heartache. I'm going to create pain and suffering in someone else. So I'd rather keep that to myself. But what this ends up doing, I've worked and currently work with a lot of people that are in their 50s and 60s that have such enormous resentment towards their family, towards their friends. It's just built up over the years and it's barfing out. And when we are not honest and when we aren't able to describe and say out loud what we want, what we desire, what we crave, what we love, what inspires us, we're not open and vulnerable and sharing, it creates tremendous misunderstandings. Again, people don't know who you are. And it creates, paradoxically, more loneliness, more disconnect, more distance in your relationships. They don't know who you are. They think they know who you are, but that version of you is very different than the real version. So imagine every unspoken need, every expectation, every desire, every hurt as a brick. So every time you don't speak, every time you don't talk, every time you don't share, every time you're not vulnerable, a brick is added to the wall. And this is between you and the person that you love, admire, appreciate, adore, and you're grateful for. And one day you're going to realize that you have this wall, this big, giant wall of China between you and them. And you're going to wonder why they don't share with you. You're going to wonder why there's such distance, why they're not calling you as much, why they're not coming around as much. Because there's a disconnect. So when you say something out loud, when you're able to say what's the uncomfortable stuff, and you're able to say it, it's not about barfing it out in a way that you know is going to hurt their feelings. It's learning to be able to plate it in a way that it can be received well. Again, maybe with a disclaimer. When you're able to say the uncomfortable thing without damaging the relationship, without hurting them, like truly being rude. I'm not saying be rude. Use your manners. But being able to say the uncomfortable thing without damaging someone's feelings, it really allows for trust and openness to grow. Because resentment is the graveyard of unspoken needs, wants, and desires. Resentment is big, it's heavy, it's brutal. When I talk to clients and they really talk to me about how it feels, what it's like, what the experience is, it overflows in every aspect of their life, everything. Like they don't take care of themselves, they have a lot of guilt, shame. Resentment is huge. Like it's layers upon layers of negative, hard feelings to feel on a daily basis. It erodes away at every aspect of their life. And relationships typically don't fall apart on what's said. They usually fall apart on what's not said, because the other person is creating in their mind a meaning of what is not being said. So the unraveling of the silence is going to unravel from their paradigm, from their experience in life, from their past experiences, their hurts, their wounds, their traumas, whatever. It's going to be from their version. It's going to be made up. It's going to be oftentimes much worse than what's reality. It's based off of their assumptions, their guesses, their judgments. So if you've ever felt frustrated that your partner in your relationship, whatever relationship you're thinking of right now, if you're ever feeling like, well, they just should know, they should know me by now, they should understand me by now. Well, guess what? That's a moving target. People don't even know themselves, let alone another human being. If you ever find yourself walking on eggshells and you're unsure how to truly express and articulate your needs, that's what this episode's for. So unspoken expectations quietly destroys the goodwill in a relationship. So goodwill is the warmth, the feeling that you have towards someone. So it's like I always call it a bank account. Some clients like the temperature. So whatever metaphor lands for you, but unspoken expectations quietly erodes away the bank account of goodwill. So whatever your relationship is to that person, how you think of them has a huge impact as well. And when we allow our unintentional thoughts to go unchecked and just kind of sit there like a record and play and play and play, and we overthink and overanalyze, and it stirs up even more emotions. And oftentimes it spirals into, again, the resentments, and those resentments build, and that goodwill goes down, down, down. And that's when conflict happens. That's when explosive, you should know, and yelling and screaming and whatever your flavor is. That's not a version for me. I'm not a yeller or a screamer or a fighter. I'm a let's sit down and talk about this. I want to hear your version. I want to hear your story. But it sometimes happens, right? In certain relationships. Whatever the flavor is for you, when you feel backed into a wall and you feel as though it's just gone on too long. So that's where coaching really benefits, right? Having someone non-biased, someone outside of your circle of friends and family, and likely even your state, to be able to help you navigate these conversations, to maybe even role play. What does it look like to have a conversation? What is it like to express my needs, wants, and desires? What is it that how can I approach someone and open up a dialogue of creating an agreement? I don't want to carry the burden of expectations and resentment anymore. What does that look like? What is that experience like? And it's actually very simple. I make it real simple. And it's a paradigm shift. It's an understanding. It's actually quite easy if you think of it that way. So the danger in the silence, the danger in avoidance. So when we don't speak what's on our mind, when it weighs us down, when we're boiling with resentment, it's felt. People feel that energy around you. Your energy enters the room before your body physically does. So those unspoken, silent, bottled up expectations, wants, and desires creates confusion. It creates misunderstanding. It creates conflict almost without it sometimes even being said. Like there's a tension in the room, like you cut it with a knife. And sometimes when we have unspoken expectations, we're also creating a scorecard in our mind. We have a hidden scorecard. We're keeping score, like, oh, there they go again. They didn't follow through. They didn't do this for me. They didn't do this and that and say this or give me that or do this for me. It's a lot of me, me, me. And what this does is in our mind, it creates an emotional distance, an emotional disconnect or dissonance. It's self-sabotage, right? Someone, when they feel that tension, when they feel that negative energy coming off of you, they feel like that there's something brewing, there's something, and depending on the individual and their life experience, it might create a sense of unsafety. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. Not safety. Not, it creates a space of fear. It might feel scary. It might feel unknown or unfamiliar or frightening or worrisome. Unsafe. I don't know if that's a word. It might be. But whenever you're with somebody and they're really in their head and they're really feeling heavy and they got this resentment going on, it feels like walking on eggshells. I'm not sure if I can bring this up today. You know, you're kind of like reading the room and you feel like there's something going on here. Like it feels wildly heavy, and people avoid that. They're going to share less with you. Oh, I don't want to burden them, right? It's funny how we actually mirror one another, because you're not wanting to share your expectations, the things, the wants and desires in your mind, while they're not sharing with you because they feel like something's brewing. So we mirror one another. It might look a little different, might show up a little bit differently, but that's each other's flavor of how they deal with insecurities and unknown and lack of safety, right? So in order to build trust, in order to build connection, in order to build a safe place, right? Reading the room, is it safe to share? Is it safe to talk about this? It really is. You have to bring that forward first. They might not have the emotional intelligence to know how to do that. And that's what I help my clients with. I meet them wherever their emotional intelligence is and level it up, keep leveling it up with each conversation so they have conscious awareness and understand how their mind, thought, and consciousness work, to where they can improve and connect with those people that they care about. All right, so we have a thought. We think, oh, I don't want to give this person my download. I want to dump on them. I don't want to create drama. Okay, that thought creates a feeling, right? The feeling is, I'm just gonna, no, thank you. I'll just distance myself. I'll just avoid them, right? So I guess that's kind of a feeling, but also an action as well. And the outcome is more distance, more disconnect, more isolation. So every situation starts with a thought. Whether it's true, whether it's distorted, whether it's outdated, maybe it's an old conditioning, maybe it's an old belief, right? So every thought is either intentional, which means you purposely think what you want, how you want to feel, or an unintentional thought is something from your past. It's from old wounds. It's from old programming. It's your brain protecting you. It's your brain guarding you from being hurt. So when we believe a thought, when we get wedded to it, when we hang on to it, when we add fuel to it, and we see the thought is maybe true, we end up jumping on the emotional roller coaster and taking a ride, following what emotion we feel like doing at any moment. And that's kind of, it goes into eating as well. Like I feel like eating lasagna today. I feel like eating cake today. So if we're using our feelings to navigate our world and our life, it's a roller coaster ride. Some days are good, some days are scary, some days are good. It's just going to be wild. It's going to be a wild ride, and you're going to feel like you're out of control. So is that in relationships. So emotional trust, emotional leadership is learning how to observe your thoughts without instantly reacting to them. Like, oh, I'm having a thought. Is that helpful or is that harmful? It's learning to listen to your gut, listening to your heart, listening to your soul, listening to your instincts, gathering your wisdom. All right, so let's go through a hypothetical situation for John and Sarah. If your name is John or Sarah, I apologize. No, these are always really cute and fun. I don't make them mean or vicious or I don't want to. I guess I kind of villainize one of them in a sense, but if you think that, then that's true, right? Or not, right? No thought is true. All right, so Sarah is starting to feel distant from John. Maybe he's a really good texter. Maybe he's pretty consistent in his texting, right? He's the type of a man that loves to text every morning. I love you. I had a great night last night. I hope you have a good day. Maybe he's a midday texter too. Hope you're having a great day. This is what happened to me. My day has been crazy. I can't wait to tell you when I get home. Maybe he loves to text her before he leaves work. You need anything, me to grab you anything. Maybe he's a really good texter, right? We got anybody out there that's a really good texter? I feel like I'm a decent texter. I don't text that much though. I do intentionally text my husband. Um, let me step back for a second. Years ago, I used to only call and text him when something was going wrong. And what I noticed is a pattern in the conversation. So I would call and he'd go, "What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?" So Pavlov's dog, if you understand, if you've ever heard of that, it's where animals, really all animals, like I have Tux, my Boston Terrier, he knows a cue and a response after the cue. Like, he knows where the treats are. So he knows when that door opens, boop, I'm getting a treat, right? So that's Pavlov's dog. When there's a sound or a noise or a cue or something, he knows that there's something that follows, right? Like the back door opens. Oh, I need to go potty. Or he knows patterns in our routine. He knows right before he gets fed, and he has expectations in his head of how his day goes and his routines go. But anyways, I noticed a pattern in my husband's. When I would call him, it's like, "What's wrong? What's happening? Bah, what's happening? Something's wrong." And I came to this realization when I was I was truly only texting him when something was wrong or I needed him or something had gone bad or I needed him to fix something or do something, and broke my heart in a way, because it definitely did, honestly. And so I realized I'm going to intentionally, right? It was unintentional. It was just in my mind. I think that I had this perception that he's really busy. I don't want to bother him. And so I would only text and call him. It eroded away. We've been together 21 years. So there was a point in time in our marriage, probably about 10 years ago. Actually, I know it was about 10 years ago, about 12 years ago, that he kept saying that, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" Like he'd answer the phone like, "Oh my gosh, something's wrong." Panic. And it dawned on me that I want to intentionally call and text him out of the blue, because that's what we did at the beginning of our courtship, our relationship, getting to know one another. It was just random calling. "Hey, how was your day?" or text or whatever. So I intentionally now text, call randomly. And what's funny about it is I rarely call or text him about an emergency. And I love it. He's gotten used to it. Um, and he answers the phone equally as urgent as if it was an emergency. So, anyways, there's a big difference between unintentional thought and intentional thought. There's a big difference between operating unintentionally, right, on the roller coaster ride, right, only texting or calling him when an emergency, not wanting to bother him, and intentionally letting him know that he's top of mind. I'm thinking about him. It makes a big difference in a relationship. So a bit of a digress there, but I will say, let's assume that John in this scenario is a great texter, intentionally texts normally, but today he's not. He's gone silent. So in this hypothetical, I'm going to give two hypotheticals. The scenario one is Sarah reacting to her unintentional thoughts. Okay. So her thought, maybe about 3 o'clock, is he's ignoring me. I must not matter. Right. So notice how maybe that day his phone battery died or something, right? Who knows, right? And he's normally a really good texter. He's very caring. He's very loving. He's very engaging and intentionally texter. But notice how her thoughts, right? Her insecurities rise, her ego, her saboteurs rise, and her thought is, he's ignoring me. I must not matter. He doesn't care. So she's going to feel hurt. She's going to feel anxious. She's going to feel nervous. Maybe it'll tap into worried, right? Hopefully, because it's not, right. So far, it's all about her. Hopefully she'll tap into, maybe there's something wrong. Maybe there's another explanation. But anyways, when we stay in the place of hurt, fearful, anxious, me, ego, we end up usually being withdrawn. Passive aggressive. Maybe we don't make dinner as a result. Maybe that is something we normally do, but as a result, I'll teach him I'm not going to make dinner. It's the funny things that we humans will do. So John, he'll come home later that evening, and because of her shutting down, because of her passive aggressive statements as he walks through the door, or maybe she even sends a text, and once he charges his phone or turns it on, he sees it, he's going to feel confused. He's going to feel defensive. He's going to feel the disconnect. He's going to feel the distance. He's going to feel the wedge in their relationship. Okay, so notice how a thought, a feeling, and an action creates an outcome. This is not good, right? This is withdrawal out of the bank account of goodwill. All right, so scenario two, same situation, no text messages, whatever. About 3 p.m., Sarah goes, has a thought. Maybe today was hectic for him. I'll just check in calmly with him via text. And if I don't hear from him within 45 minutes, I'll call his office, right? A landline where there's a receptionist. Well, I don't even know what John does for work, but we'll assume he has a receptionist. So she'll call, maybe after 45 minutes. So maybe around 4 o'clock, she'll call if she hasn't heard from him. So where she's coming from, the feeling that she's coming from is groundedness. She's coming from curiosity. That's a choice. It's a choice to feel anxious or curious. It's a choice to feel angry or grounded. It's a choice to feel upset or at peace. Okay. Now, both feelings are valid. Feelings come from our thoughts. So anyone's feelings are valid because if I was thinking and believing what they are thinking and believing, I would feel the same way. So everyone's feelings are valid. But when she comes from a grounded, peaceful, calm, supportive, loving heart, right? When she fuels that feeling, how can I be supportive? How can I be loving? How can I cherish my husband, be supportive, loving, compassionate, empathetic? What she could do is, again, her text message at say maybe 3:45 is, I hope your day's okay. I'm thinking of you. I'm planning a beautiful dinner tonight. Can't wait to see you. It's your favorite meal. So what will end up happening is when John turns his phone on and jumps in the car, heads home, he's going to receive that text message, and the energy or the tone in the message will be well received. He's going to feel her energy when he walks in the door. He's going to smell the dinner being made, his favorite meal. And what ends up happening is connection deepens, the bond builds, the goodwill increases. So it's the same situation, right? Two different mindsets, unintentional thoughts, letting those dictate how your day goes, how your evening goes, dictates how your relationship either grows or gets further apart, but two radically different outcomes. So intentional thoughts are intentionally thinking, how do I want to feel? How do I want to lead with thinking and feeling? How do I want to lead the rest of my day? How do I want to lead in this next interaction? Unintentional thoughts is from old, painful things that have happened in your life. It's old programming, it's old conditioning, it's the things that you saw growing up or experienced, or movies or books that you've read, or maybe even friends, how they interact. Going, oh, that looks normal. I'll do that too. I'll be critical and judgmental of my spouse. I will overanalyze everything that they do and check their phone and make sure they're being truthful. Right? That's creating distance. That's creating division. All right. So I do want to make out a point that we don't need to fix our partner. If that's the thought that you're creating, the belief that you're believing that I need to fix my partner, that's going the wrong direction. So when you understand how your mind, your thought, your consciousness works, you're able to lead with love. You're able to lead your life in the direction that you want to go. So every single thought that you have is a doorway to disconnect or deeper intimacy. When we have built up unspoken expectations that we're not able to speak about, share, articulate, describe, fall on our sword, add clarity to, what it ends up doing is it creates later on emotional landmines, right? Horrible, right? Everybody's tiptoeing around these landmines and no one knows how to disarm them, not even you. We don't find peace, we don't find calmness, we don't find clarity in overthinking, analyzing, wallowing around in our mind, or getting validation from other people, like on social media threads, that what you're thinking and believing is true and real because they don't know you. They don't know your situation. That's why working with someone like me one-on-one, I learn you. I have a conversation with you. I understand how you operate. I understand what your blueprint is, how you're thinking, what you're believing, and what's creating mental and emotional suffering. Clarity is found in stillness. Clarity is found in one insight at a time. So the quality of your relationships are really all about in how you think about them. Every single person, between you and any person in your life, there's a thought, actually several thoughts, probably pages and books of thoughts, depending on the person. Okay, so the quality of your connection, the quality of your bond, the quality of your relationship is purely up in your head. It's the level of thoughts that you have, the level of awareness that you have. It's unintentional and intentional thoughts. So I would love to hear in your comments or in the comments below your feedback, your thoughts, and what unspoken expectations might you be silently holding close to your heart or in your head. Probably in your head's a better way to put it. So what unspoken expectations are you hiding that you're now seeing is creating some distance, some friction, a wedge in your relationship? Okay, so if this landed for you, if you learned something, which I hope you did, please share this with someone or comment below, like it, depending on where you're at. I'd love to hear your thoughts, answer to that question. But if you're silently struggling, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. There's no cost. Let's have a conversation. I'd love to meet you and see if possibly that I could help you. You can always text the word ready to 509-800-7264 as well. If you don't want to put it on here, I understand that, but reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you and support you. Thank you.